Welcome back to the 34 podcast. I'd like to thank you again for joining me and my co-host, Raptor.
Hello, once again.
For our first topic today, we're going to talk about the Nuggets. Today, the Nuggets played the Wizards in a very close contest. In this game, the Nuggets chose to go with a new lineup. They inserted the young Bol Bol into their lineup while also running four other bigs. In this lineup was Jokic at point. Power forward Jaren Grant was now moved to the shooting guard position. Paul Millsap was at the four, and Miles Plumlee at the center. And Bobo, of course, was in the starting lineup, but at 7-2, they decided to put him in at small forward. As I stated on last podcast, one of my beliefs is that Denver's key to future success is surrounded by Bobo and, of course, Jokic. And the rookie showed that he was ready by posting a double-double. I mean, it was against the Wizards, but it was 16 points, 10 rebounds, and 6 blocks. The performance outshined the Wizards rookie Hashimura, and it felt as though Bol Bol had played several NBA games at this point, despite it being his first. So does this addition further the Nuggets' playoff chances?
See, for me, like the point that you just made about him appearing to almost seem like he's played in the league before, it's almost true. Like he looked extremely comfortable out there on the court. He seemed like he knew what he was doing. The movement was good. The speed was good. That's why I think the small forward isn't even a stretch for him.
Nah, he's got guard-like handles.
And Jokic, with his weight loss, I didn't really see a lot of him in the highlights, but I'm sure he's a lot faster.
Yeah,
He's obviously his height, so honestly, like I'm not saying this is gonna be like when they're really playing for the chips type of thing that they're gonna use him at the point guard, but they could. They honestly could.
well, Jamal Murray was out today. That helped
Yeah,
lineup change, and it's just a warm up game. I forget what they call it, but it's a warm up game more or less.
the
And
scrimmage.
yeah, but Bol Bol just he looked good. He led the team. I mean, I think he had as many points as Jokic, and he had the rebounds, and he was down low. He had one play that surprised me so much. He missed a layup, a floater, and he got the before. I don't know if he jumped and went back up, but he put the ball right back in with a dunk right off his own rebound, and he looked good. He was
See,
hooping
that's the
today.
thing
I'd
about
like
his
to.
length, right? The
Yeah,
fact that he can do that
yeah.
pretty easily.
I want to see it against a better team. I mean, the Wizards are down on a lot of people. I think they still got a good chance to make the playoffs, but that's because of the Nets being so weak. But I
Yeah.
don't. They didn't really have anybody that could hold Bobo. I want to see him against a better system than what the Wizards play. But that was really good today. It was a
It was
surprise to
entertaining.
me. It was a surprise to me to see him even play. I didn't think they were going to pull him out of the G League until next season, but I
Well,
think they
when you
should.
sent me that lineup, I'm not gonna lie, and I mean, IRL versus a virtual role is a different thing, but the first thing I thought of was that 2K cheese.
Yeah,
Just like the height.
they were literally playing five bigs, which is weird. You
I
don't see
know, but
that.
it must have worked. Like I know it was the Wizards, but it didn't seem to really affect them at all. I know it was the
Nah.
Wizards, but
But they definitely want Murray back in the lineup, though. And they might have to move it around a little bit. But I'd take Ryan Grant or Millsap. I mean, even Millsap could play the two, and you could do maybe that. But
yeah, because it's
they can
still
move
height
it around a
advantage.
lot. They still got to fit Michael Porter Jr. in there somewhere because I think he could either be six man or start. So I don't know.
That's yeah.
I see this, especially with Bol Bol out there. That's gonna be fun if they play Rockets first round because Bol Bol's gonna have a fun time at 7-2 against little 6'7" PJ Tucker. No offense to him that they put him in that position.
But Bol Bol is still gonna have fun with that. Yeah, with that advantage.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun to watch. I hope this isn't just a one-time thing, which with the numbers he put up, if it is, it's stupid for them to not use him. I thought he should have been in January, not now, but I mean, it's good that he's in now, but if they
Maybe he used that as like a push. Like, oh, they didn't want to put me in them. Let me go off now.
I
Type
hope he
of thing.
does. I hope he does because I've wanted to see him since high school. Him and Sharif O'Neal when they played I don't know if it was AAU or what they played together with. I think it was AAU.
Yeah.
But They were going off. That's a duo. If Denver can snag O'Neal next year, I'd be ready with that. I don't think they can. Or no, it'll be 2 years. Whenever
That would
O'Neal
also
gets
be
in the gym.
so entertaining.
Yeah.
Sharif and Bol Bol.
I don't see it happening, but it would be nice. I mean, if Denver keeps like kind of being iffy with minutes with Bol Bol, I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't leave, but I think Denver is going to start using him more and more, so that won't be an issue.
With the whole Bol Bol thing, I think it's gonna work out for them. I think they should put him in there, even if it's off the bench. I don't think it will be because I think it would honestly be stupid of them not to put that type of height in the starting lineup.
Yeah, that three
But
spot's a good spot for him.
yeah, and like he's not like even though his height, you're like, oh, he's probably slow. He's mobile. He can move.
Well, usually rookie's problem is defense, and he had 6 blocks today. That's usually what keeps a rookie on the bench is defense, and he's not going
And
to have
I'm
that
not sure if
issue.
you recall this, but were a lot of his boards defensive or offensive?
I don't remember any of them being offensive, so they're mostly on the defensive end. Or
So
at least
then he's
that's
got
what
the
hit the
box out,
highlights.
or at least the height or the box out skills. So that's more stuff that he's good at. So I
Well,
think
it's
it.
less box out, more just his long arms. He's got arms like his dad, not quite, but he's like I don't. His dad was good, but like he's better because his offensive skill set is more. It's close to
Yeah,
today's game because he could stretch the floor. He hit two. He went 2 for 8 from three, which isn't the best, but that can be worked on. And maybe he was having an off day. I don't know, but
I would rather have like I know you have to be an all around player, but I would rather have the numbers he put up today rather than being perfect from three but not playing any defense. That's just me.
yeah, you gotta. Defense will keep you on the floor. He's just got. If he can focus on the defense, the rest will follow. In the last few hours, it came out that the LA Dodgers and right fielder Mookie Betts have agreed to a 13-year deal totaling $380 million. This means that the 27-year-old is locked into a Dodgers uniform until he turns 40. Is this a good move for the former champion?
I think it is because with him and the Dodgers and it's a 12 year.
Well, I just saw
Correct.
13 on Instagram. That's my bad if it's
Okay, that's
not.
fine. That's good. But I think it is a good deal for him because I mean it locks him up in a good franchise because they got Turner, they got Price, and
Yeah,
that team, in my opinion, they got robbed of last year and the year before. I
right.
think they should be at least a one time or maybe two time in the last 2 years. The addition of Mookie, and now you're extending his contract through 2032, is what I read. I think that's good for him, and I think that's good for the team because he's a solid right fielder. He's got the movement and like the skills. He is a top player in the league, and I'm looking here, and I'm seeing runs scored. He is number one above guys like Devers
Yeah.
and Acuna.
Acuna, yeah.
Yeah, that's a big one right there to me. And fast also, so he can get to those spots either on the bags or in the field. Then he's got his doubles, and that's something he did extremely well last year. Was hit the double. Like it might say he's not top 10, but he's incredible when it comes to the hitting and stuff like that.
He's also a good teammate because
Yeah,
he was fifth in sacrifice flies. I mean, he's tied with 4 other people with 9, but that's still
that's
pretty
just
good.
dead.
That's still like top 10 in the league if
Yeah,
you go by players. But
yeah, sure.
I mean, he's willing to do what it takes to win. It's just that the Red Sox lost Big Poppy and they weren't really in the position to win after that.
And then you see here his accomplishments. He's a World Series champion in 2018. He's an AL MVP in that same year.
Yeah.
4-time star, 3-time Silver Slugger, 4-time Gold Glove, All MLB second team, Wilson Defensive Player of the Year award, which well deserved. Because if I'm thinking back to 2016, there wasn't a ball that hit the ground that was near him.
Now that you're talking about that, why is he only going to be the 14th best paid player in the league if he's doing all this? I don't get how he's not getting paid more, really, if you think about it.
I don't know if that's the position that the Dodgers are in, like financially, or I don't know if people overshadow him.
Well, they're paying Price and Kershaw both 30 plus, so
I
I mean,
know.
I guess they're probably looking at the cap right now. If they sign too many people too high, this makes basically 90 mil going to 3 players. I don't know what their cap is, but
I mean, the thing about the Dodgers that they have so much of that like
Yeah.
extra room that they can do this with guys like Betts, and then they can also have like guys like Kershaw and Price.
Yeah, I don't.
I think it's just a matter of being able to make it work.
That's what makes the Cowboys so good in football because they got the big cap because of what they do. But
Yeah, for sure. And then like you see the hit for the cycle is a big thing because that means you hit a single, a double, a triple, and a homer, which for me is just like a sign of a elite player. The fact that he can do everything, not just hit a single or a double. He can do it.
yeah, he can do it all. Yeah, and he's a really good. I mean, he plays right field, but you told me earlier he can play any position.
Yeah, and that's like kind of what goes with what you just said about him being able to do everything is that he can play right field. He's played center in Boston. He's played left field effectively, but he's brought up and drafted as a right fielder. But I mean, he's versatile. He can hit. He can run. He's just to me he's worth that price. What they paid him in the years and all that.
Yeah, they've actually their cap. They've still got 22 million in cap space at this point. Their total payroll can be 208 million, so they've still got a little cap room.
Oh, they still got some moves that they could do.
Actually, well, this is a little bit different. I'm looking at an old uh
Yeah,
salary because they don't have Betts' deal exactly inked in yet. It's still at 27 where it's at. I think yeah, it's at 29 now, but that's still 20 million they got to work with. They're
yeah.
probably gonna have to pay Bellinger down the road because he's only making 11 a year and he does a lot for them.
He's their home run hitter, like the 40 plus a year of bombs since he's
Yeah, they're
been.
gonna have to pay him eventually. So if you think about it, you add another. They still got 10 plus in cap even after you pay Bellinger, so they could still add more people.
Yeah, and that's I think everybody wants to come to LA because it's a successful franchise. You
Well,
have
they do well. They haven't been able to get it done in a while, but
okay. To be fair, they should have got it done last year. It's just me
well, yeah.
and the year before. Let's be
Well, I don't
honest.
know if they had made it through. I don't. They had to play the Nats, right? The Nationals.
Yeah,
I don't know. That national team was really good. I mean, that was close. They should have put it over the hump, but that national team was good as well. I mean, you can't
very much.
knock them too much.
I mean, they won the
I
ship,
mean,
so
I wish Detroit had still paid Scherzer back in the day, but they didn't. And he went, and now you got two Detroit's great pitchers have rings. Whether the Verlander's on the Dodgers is 100% legit, we still will never know. But
yeah.
either
I
way,
mean,
he's got it.
Verlander. I mean, this isn't really related to the Betts situation, but now he has a bad light on him. Like that's a story for another day. But
Yeah, I
say
mean, it's not really his fault because he
no.
was he was doing the opposite. But he had no help. He wasn't hearing what the pitches were. He was throwing the pitches out. I mean,
Yeah, and then in other, well, this just came up on my phone. In other baseball news, is the Toronto Blue Jays were slated to have their home field in Pittsburgh, but today, a couple of hours ago, apparently the Pennsylvania Department of Safety said they're not allowed to play there. The season starts on Friday. I don't know what they're gonna do
the MLB is probably just gonna have to make all their games away games until they can figure something out. I
at
mean,
this point. Yeah,
yeah, I don't know what they can do. I mean, either way, they're playing away, so you might as well just let them play all away the whole season.
yeah. And then Pennsylvania was like, "Nah, you guys can't play here. It's a safety thing."
I don't know. That's what makes the NBA different from all the other ones at this point, because even NFL's trying to run where they can play on their own home fields. NBA just said forget it, and they put it all in a
Bro,
bubble. Everybody's stuck in there. Nobody can go anywhere. But with baseball and football right now, they can just go where they want. So it's a little bit harder to keep safe.
And like the thing about the NFL and the MLB, right? Those are both outdoor sports. Like I'm sure you can find fields in other places, but it's
But I
easier
mean,
to
a lot of
find
stadiums
indoor
are
court.
indoors anyway. I mean, they don't always play with the roof open.
Yeah, but when you think of the NBA, it's all indoors, so that's a little bit.
Yeah, they could have done it at a high school gym as far as that goes. They're not going to, but
Could have, to be honest, as long as there's a court that's right sized.
Well, yeah,
So
that's the problem with a lot of high school courts, though. But yeah, I think this is a good move for bets in the future. I think
I
this Dodgers should was I don't know if they will, but they should be able to win a ring sometime in the next 5. But if that's really
I
their window,
think the next two. I'm gonna be honest.
could
I really,
happen. It really could happen.
I really do think so.
In sports, all teams have humble beginnings, but eventually all graduate towards eventual success, whether it be through the draft or through free agency. This rise to relevance may leave one or more players forever tied to a franchise in people's minds. So, what players come to mind when you think of team changers?
So for my first one, I'm gonna go with Tom Brady and Bill Belichick, right? Because those two, we know what they've done for that franchise. We
Well, yeah.
know, yeah. I mean, those two together. I mean, it's not just them. I know, because they have Gronk and they had Newman, but I mean, those two alone right there have changed that franchise for the better. And then, like, do you have any opinions on that? Like on that?
Well, no, I think Brady's greatest of all time. We'll see if he can actually put that to the truth. I mean, he's old, he's 40,
I
but
know he's getting there, but he's still
but I
young.
think he could still do a lot with the Bucks this season. We'll see how much it was with Belichick, but see if
And then
Gronk
my
still
other
got
one,
any in the tank.
yeah. I mean, I think he does. It's Tom Brady. He'll find
Yeah,
a
yeah.
way.
What's
And
your
then my
other?
other one, I think you're gonna like Vince Carter with the Toronto Raptors.
Yeah, the Carter effect on Toronto.
Because like you brought to my attention, and the more I've kind of thought about it, it's true. The Raptors were never really a look at them type of thing until Vince Carter came into there.
No, the biggest star they had was Damon Stoudemire, and he's not really he doesn't really push the curtain, push the envelope
No,
for a team. He's okay.
Vince Carter put the Raptors on the map. Let's be honest here.
Yeah, it's really sad that T-Mac had to dip like he did because I felt
Oh
like you
no.
could have won one back then before they got Kawhi now, but well, had Kawhi.
Um, when he so like when Vince left, right? I mean that's a big hit for them. But I think other players seeing that Vince was there and the success, I think that has helped players want to come to Toronto. I'm not saying it's like destination central for like guys like Greek and other guys like Kawhi. Like Kawhi, I don't think even wanted to go there in the first place, right? Like, am I wrong? I don't think he was really happy.
Toronto is just a weird spot. I mean, a lot of guys like the hot climate. That's why Kawhi didn't really want to stay. But
Well, I mean, no, I mean, his home is L.A.
well,
That's
yeah,
why.
but LA is also a warmer climate.
Yes, obviously,
But
it's just the way it is.
if Toronto can hold Nurse there for years, they could have like a Popovich kind of thing going on. He reminds me a lot of Popovich. He's a good defensive coach. He's got a lot of different schemes. He likes ball movement. He's a lot like the Spurs. I like him a lot.
And like, I'm sure, and like, I'm not. It wasn't luck. It was good coaching and good players and good teamwork. But the fact that Nurse won a championship his first year ever as an NBA coach, like the respect you have to have for him is insane.
I mean, it was kind of for him to come into that situation and it being a fresh start anyway with Kawhi, it kind of worked out because if it had been like Casey had stayed, then he might have been trying to run his old system and it would have been different. But Nurse tried to fit it around Kawhi because he knew that's what he had coming and he had to do it with a fresh start anyway. So
Yeah, but when you're talking about Nurse, and he used to be on the GA League team, right? And like he's coaching
I think it's
against,
G League overseas, a bunch of
yeah,
places. He
some
put in his
other
time.
guys, and then now you're coaching against LeBron, Steph, Clay, all those. The fact that he won like the first year, that's impressive to me. That he went from that to coaching against and having to defend and come up with the schemes to defend those said players is
Yeah, he's got
something.
that boxing one he run is somewhat of that's a game changer in the future. They'll bring in like that's like a high school set that they don't run on the NBA level very often.
Yeah, I saw a funny little meme the other day, and it was Nick Nurse talking to the press, and he had a hoodie on that said "Box and One" in gold lettering on a black hoodie.
Yeah. Well, I got one for you that most
Okay.
people won't think of. But I got Garnett and the Timberwolves before he
That did
got
change.
traded because I was listening to, I guess I listened to SiriusXM NBA radio a lot. It was NBA Today with Termini and I don't know who the other guy is, but they talked about how or no, it was before that. It was I think Sam Mitchell because he coached the Timberwolves and he said that
Yeah.
KG would get on every player's case when he was there. This was when like Cat and Levine and Wiggins were young, and he said that Garnett he would come in at 7:45 for a while, and then eventually he said he started seeing like Levine and Wiggins in there by 8 o'clock, and he said by halfway through the season you had everybody in there by 8:30 ready to go, and he said it really helped. That Sam Mitchell, or I think it was Sam Mitchell, had played with him when he was on Timberwolves the first time, and he said he was always in practice. He never took a day off, and he would just go, 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 pushing everybody to the highest. He said he was always to
Oh,
the front of the line.
he pushed the whole team to be better.
Yeah, everybody had to match his intensity because if you didn't, he was going to run you off the court.
And
And
KG's intensity. Oh,
yeah, KG had the intensity, and I mean, he won MVP, and then
anything is possible.
this guy said that he went to when he got traded to Boston, Doc Rivers called him and asked him if why is KG acting like this? He's telling me he doesn't have to act like this because he was just running the players up and down the court and making them work. Doc Rivers thought it was just like an act. He thought he was putting on an act, just like it was like he was faking it just because he wanted to look good with the other
No,
guys.
that's
But
just KG.
Sam
That's
Mitchell
just
said
him.
that's just KG, and he said Doc called him about 2 months later, and he's like, "Wow, that's I've never seen anybody do like this. It's crazy," and that's what made him
Yeah, to
better.
have a guy like that is just something you can't
He said
look.
that without KG going to Boston, Paul Pierce would never be a Hall of Famer, and I agree with that because Paul KG pushed Paul Pierce to play better defensively and offensively. Because that team the year prior, before them bringing in Ray Allen and trading for KG, was 26 and 52 with it was Antoine Walker and
Yeah,
Pierce. But when they traded for Garnett, it brought Pierce's game up and it brought the whole team up, and
and
he was
like
a
the
real game
famous
changer.
quote from KG on the Celtics is the anything is possible. You know that.
Yeah, he worked. He just kept going and going.
I think when it comes to the NBA, and I could be wrong, he is the definition of workhorse.
Yeah.
I think, in my
Yeah.
opinion. I'm not sure if you agree with
I
that,
wish
but
more people had KG's work ethic. He
I don't
wouldn't.
think we'll see a guy like that again. I'm sorry, I just don't
Uh,
think you will.
I don't know. Kawhi's a lot like that. Workout. I mean, nah. The low management kind of kills that, but off the court, I think he's a lot like that.
Zion, maybe, because we saw what he did
I don't
in the.
know. It's
But
gonna be
that's
hard to
beside.
match a KG level. That's gonna be hard to do.
Yeah,
And yeah, but KG's gonna be. He. When I think of Timberwolves, I think of him. I mean, maybe Cat will take that over someday, but right now,
I'm not
Cat just
sure if
doesn't
you
have the
think
push.
that, but whenever I think of KG too, and I'm not sure if I'm like making this image up in my head, but I think of like that one picture where it's like kind of looking up at him and he's like yelling at the
KG
Timberwolves.
yelling.
Yeah,
Yeah. I got another one.
okay.
It's back to football. I mean, it didn't really do much, but when I think of that team, I think of Barry Sanders and the Lions. Because even though they didn't win, Barry Sanders was the only team that kept that team where people wanted to watch. Because that team, all they could do was run, and that one season, I think he ran that 1,000+ season, and then I think the next year he retired or something. But he was just going off. But the problem
With
was
his thousand
Detroit never
plus,
had anything to go around him. But when I think of the Lions, I just think of Barry Sanders juking everybody.
and like with that type of thing, you kind of wish that he did more. Like, okay, well, not him. Sorry, he did all he could do. It's
Well,
just I
I
wish
wish
that
we
he could
had
have
Barry
more.
Sanders right now with Stafford. Well, with Stafford a couple of years ago, he's starting to get a little injury prone. It's scaring me,
Yeah,
but yeah, him and
he's pretty
Stafford
good.
and Megatron would have been hard to stop. because
That would have been, yeah, that would have been
but
scary.
that can go for any team. You say bring the best piece from every time. So yeah,
Yeah,
I got gonna stay in Detroit. I'm gonna put Isaiah Thomas, 80s Isaiah Thomas, not the short one now, the short one
for the
back then.
Pistons.
But I got Zeke because before they drafted Zeke in 81, they had moved from Fort Wayne to Detroit and played in well, they were at the Silverdome then, but before they were down at Cobo, they didn't even have a full court most of the time. They had a movable court and it was just not their arena. And what Zeke did, he started. They brought Zeke in. A couple years later, they got Lambeer, they got Rodman, they drafted Rodman, they drafted Sally, they drafted Edwards. But it all started with that core of Isaiah getting them to more of a position where they could put pieces around him. And it brought them to that point where they were the bad boys.
And Isaiah
Uh,
was a dog. Huh.
Isaiah was a dog. Isaiah was, I mean, he could do a lot. He was,
And Rodman, we know him. He's just Rodman. He's
well, that was
insane.
young Rodman. That was probably the most stable he ever was back then, but he was good. He won the defensive player of the year with them, but
Yeah,
Isaiah really changed that team because they were bottom feeders for the good part of I think
they were
they
down there.
started in the 50s and from the 50s until the 80s they were bottom feeders. They did have the first 1,000 point scorer in one season. The first person ever scored 1,000 in a season, but that was about it. Before that, they were garbage.
Yeah, but I mean, for that time, it was a really big changer for them. So you
Yeah,
can always thank Isaiah for that or Zeke for that, you know. So
yeah. Who else you got?
I mean, when I'm thinking of team like players that change a team, I'm trying to think here, and like
You
it's more
can't
of a
think of one? I got a big one.
no, it's a mod. Okay, well then go with yours first, and see if you're thinking of a good
Michael
scenario.
Jordan. Anybody who watched The Last Dance saw how bad that Bulls team was before he
Okay,
showed
true.
up. They were awful. I mean, the best they had was Artis Gilmore, who was very good in the ABA, but by the time he hit NBA, was kind of weak.
Could the same thing go for the Bucks and Giannis then?
I guess, yeah. But it didn't really like put the team on the map because they'd already had the Kareem saga before. I'm talking like
Okay,
players who put team on the map.
but the Bucks went from being on the map to kind of being to woo.
Yeah,
Welcome
I guess
Giannis
yeah, it's a
back to the
40-year
picture.
thing. I mean, if we include that, we got to include Steph and the Warriors. I mean,
Yeah, you do that. You can also
well, I
okay
mean,
maybe Mavericks.
Dirk on the
That
Mavs, Dirk on the Mavs.
yeah, but
Dirk.
that wouldn't did that change that team?
Yeah, they were
Or
awful. They hadn't had anybody that good since
okay, so
Rolando Blackman
that
and Mark Aguirre back in the 80s. They were just okay.
so Dirk changed that around. So there's a couple of teams like I think, but like you
I
said, like I
mean,
know we're talking about like
if we talk about Jordan, LeBron and the Cavs, I mean,
yeah.
he didn't stay with them forever, but what he did, I mean, he eventually brought him a championship.
And is LeBron doing the same thing sort of for the Lakers? Because the Lakers were total not good for a while.
I don't know.
But that's not just LeBron. That's
I
also
don't. Lakers,
AD.
Lakers never leave the spotlight, so you can't
No,
really like say that because they'll go down for a few years. But like when I think of Lakers, it's hard to pick just one single player.
Kobe,
Like,
Shaq, Kareem.
I think of Lakers. I think of Showtime because that's when they really flip the switch to being like. I mean, you could
See, when
think
I think of them,
they've
I
had
just
stages. Like,
Kobe,
I mean,
Kareem.
I bet back in the 80s before Magic and them, everybody thought of Mikan with them. And then you got the Mikan era, you got the Kareem and Magic and Worthy. And then you had
And
the
then here comes
Kobe
Shaq and
Shaq,
all.
and then you had Kobe Powell. I mean, that could be its own little saga there. And now you got LeBron and AD. So they kind of Lakers always pull stars.
Yeah, it's just because of the like the Lake Show, you know.
Yeah.
It's just light that's always on that team and always will be. To be honest, I don't think it's ever gonna go.
No, they got too much of the city loves them too much for that to happen.
Yeah.
The I don't know. I think Duncan. Duncan and the Spurs could be one because without the
Just
Spurs were kind of
fundamentally.
middle of the road until Duncan got there and he kind of pushed them over. But I mean, we're kind of getting off of what I really wanted the talk to be about. I wanted it to be
Like
more
initially.
towards somebody
Yeah.
who, when you instantly think about the team, somebody put them on the map, which is like with Vince and Jordan, where in other teams like had
Okay, so
past.
going to the Bucks then could that or could so like
Well,
exclude
Kareem would have been the
LeBron is
original.
yeah. I was gonna say so then would it be Kareem who officially made them the first time on the map?
Yeah,
So let's exclude Greek or whatever and just be like Kareem did that for the Bucks.
yeah.
The same Jordan did that for the Bulls and all of them.
Despite the NBA season being postponed, many players have already made their case for the season awards. So, who made the best case? Let's start with most improved.
Okay, this one's okay. this is actually a good one because there's a few players, or like there's at least a couple. I don't know what you're thinking. I mean, like Pascal already got his the last year, but I think he got better even
He
more
got
than last.
better, but not enough to
Yeah,
get into the award talk. I mean,
Luca,
they usually don't like to. Nah, Luca was already doing this at the end of the season.
but this is for the whole season, not just the end of it.
Well, yeah, but Luca kind of flattened out. He got injured a little bit. I would not put him in there. I
Okay,
got
then who?
one or two. I got Bam Adebayo on the Heat is definitely one of mine because he went from like a role player kind of borderline starter where I was
To
surprised that they
always
got rid of Hassan for, but now I'm really happy they did for Miami because he had 2 games where he had back-to-back triple doubles, and he's just doing it all. He can bring the ball up now. He really worked on his handle. So yeah, I got
I think
Bam.
Bam is yeah.
Another one that you can't quite overlook, I don't think it's going to happen, but Shea Gilgeous-Alexander under the help with the help of Chris Paul there in OKC has really moved into
His own.
possibly if they get rid of Chris Paul, that'll be your starting point guard there for the future.
It wouldn't be a bad one. I'm trying to think of my most improved dude.
You know,
Um,
neither of those are yours. You got
you
the
Van Vliet maybe?
Man Fleet. I got another one. I mean, I'm kind of cheating. I'm looking at a cheat sheet right now, but
Yeah. Who are you thinking?
I got Brandon Ingram because Brandon Ingram went from being where people thought he was gonna just start trending downward to where he gets traded and all of a sudden becomes the all star and the leader of the team, while the rookie, well, Zion can't. I mean, yeah, we all know Zion's gonna be the leader in the end, but he's definitely gonna have somebody to play off of with Brandon Ingram if they can.
Yeah.
They gotta sign him this year, but I think
Well,
they'll give
Zion
him
also
whatever
has
they
some
want.
play off, but I get what you mean.
Because what if you can get Zion driving and kick out to Ingram or one of the shooters off there, that would be really good for them.
That's
Maybe
gonna be a
Hart can move into that role of being one of the wing shooters, but I don't know. They might have to bring another better two guard in there. But
yeah. I see what. Yeah, I get what you. Yeah.
okay, let's move on to Coach of the Year. Who you got for Coach of the Year?
Oh. I think I'm gonna go with. Well, when we're thinking about last year, it was Budenholzer, right?
Budenholzer, because he did so good with the Bucks in the regular season.
Okay. I mean, he's doing the same thing this year, but it kind of is the
They
playoffs.
usually
But
try to give it to different coaches year
yeah,
to
I know the
year.
play.
They don't really try to double up. I don't know if it's
Um.
exactly fair, but I guess it's fair in some ways, but not in others because Pop would probably have so many if they did it that way.
Frank
But
Vogel.
you got Vogel in the Lakers. Uh,
What? Pardon?
You got Vogel. That's who you got.
Yeah.
I don't. He did good, but I mean he's kind of got a handicap there with having one of the best players in the league in LeBron and two of the best players in the league.
Yeah, but you still have to know how to coach a whole team, not just two players.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, but I got Nurse with the Raptors because I did not.
I
For
was
me,
gonna
I
say
didn't think
Nurse,
they
but I
were
didn't want to
that
be
close.
biased towards my
Well, it's
team.
not biased because I thought they were gonna be 5 through 8, and they're up in the second
I
or
thought
third.
he would win it last year, to be honest. But Budenholzer
He didn't
apparently.
really show his true colors to the playoffs, though. That's where Nurse, I feel like, really came up strong for them.
Yeah, I could see Nurse. I think Nurse or Vogel. I mean, if they did do the repeats, it would probably be Frank. I mean, no, well, it would be
Budenhauser?
yeah, but they're not. But they don't do repeats
I
because
think one people don't talk about enough is Taylor Jenkins and the Grizzlies. That team
I'm not
should
gonna
be
lie,
nowhere
he
near where it
does.
is. Yeah, not a lot of people know about him, but the way he's just got his system set up for John, Jaron to do their thing, it works for them and it's got them in position. I don't know if they'll keep it, but they've got a good chance at it now.
They got something
They're
there, yeah,
definitely going to be playing a play-in at the end there to see who's getting in. So that
for
could be,
sure.
we'll see which coach is better.
Yeah,
But yeah, I got my pick is Nurse. My pick is Nurse, no
and
doubt.
I got Vogel with the Lakers. So
Okay, how about defensive player of the year?
bam.
You got Bam. I got
Yeah.
Giannis, dude. I got Giannis when. Well, I got
Well, I'm not
Giannis.
picking Giannis because he's another category.
Well, yeah, but you can win two in 1 year. Mike, and Hakeem are the other two to do it. Michael
Okay,
Jordan
then
and.
screw that. Then Giannis for defensive too. Honestly.
Well, I think Giannis's block stats are like I think he averages almost 3 a game.
Plus, you can't really do much against
Bef-
him. We all know his length. It's just
I mean, all of this. I mean, I say before the postponement, but that's how the voting's going anyway. So you got to think before the postponement.
But the thing about Giannis is that is he really gonna go either? He's not gonna go downhill. We can already say that.
Nah, if
So,
anything, it'll get better. Yeah,
yeah.
he's averaging this year. He's averaging 1 block and 1 steal.
Oh, okay.
I thought they were higher than that.
I swear he had a 3 block
This
average.
seems off. Maybe I'm not getting the correct numbers here.
Let me check real quick.
Because people are talking. I thought for sure.
I could have sworn Giannis was a
I'm
three
gonna check a
average
different one.
type of guy. I'm not gonna lie to you.
No, it's 1 and 1. 1 block, 1 steal. But yeah, I think he's really shown. I must do more elsewhere for that to count. Because I've heard a lot of people talking high on him for that. Let's see what Bam's stats are just to compare. Yeah, Bam's actually averaging 1.3 and 1.2, but I think what Giannis does differently, I think Giannis is more of a he's just their defensive anchor in the paint, where Bam's not exactly their defensive anchor. It's kind of Jimmy Butler. That's why I give the nod to Giannis. I think the Bucks are #1 in defense. I've heard a lot of people talking about Giannis for the defensive player of the year just because he does a lot for them.
Yeah. And that's kind of where I stand on the defensive player of the year.
How about rookie of the year now?
Ja Morant, easy.
Nah. I got Zion. I got Zion. I got to ride with.
Of
He
course, of
he
course.
played 13 games, but I mean,
He played 13 and Ja played what, 60, 70?
yeah, but Zion's stats are way better at that in
And
this
Zion's
short.
also more hyped by everybody.
He shoots 50 plus from the field. I think he shot
Okay,
like
he's only played 13 games.
he's averaging like no his numbers are better than Jordan and LeBron's rookie year.
Okay, I get that, but in their rookie years, didn't they play more than not even 15 games?
Well, yeah, but
Sample
I
size.
don't know. Maybe I mean if he had played longer, he probably would have had that. But if he played 30, I think he would
Yeah,
have had it.
I'm not denying that. I just think it's not enough to really, really say for sure. That's why I think Ja, because he's played the whole season.
Yeah.
And he's played well.
Yeah, he's got them in position to possibly make the playoffs. They're in right now.
Yeah.
He has played really well. I know he's averaging I think close to I think he's got like 15 and 7, if not more. 15.7 assists. So yeah, I can see why you would say him, but
I'm just
I
going with sample size here, like
I think the
70
media
versus
hype
30.
might give Zion some votes. I don't know if it'll give him enough. I think he could. If he had played more, I think it would have been a bigger battle.
Yeah, and
I
like
think if the season had never got canceled, that may have
no
been.
disrespect to Zion, but I just think he needs to play more than 13 games to really prove himself. I know it's Zion, I know, but
We'll
I just
see.
think it's
We'll see.
yeah.
Okay, now for the big trophy. How about the MVP?
Greek, no question.
I got
Easy.
Greek too. I mean, LeBron tried to make a push there at the end, and if the season hadn't got postponed, he may have very well took it. But at this point, the way Giannis, his stats, I mean, he's averaging like 35 and 13, 35 points, 13 rebounds, and like 4 assists. If for like 30 minutes, 30 minutes of playtime, he doesn't even play more than 30 minutes. And
And like
LeBron,
I'm not sure if you've been watching the bubble highlights at all, but I've been seeing Giannis shooting, and like some of the clips have him like counting out loud how many shots he hit in a row. This man's hitting 8 to 10 shots from three in a row.
well, I
Like I
know
know he's
he's
shouting it,
been
yes,
gradually improving it. He has been gradually improving it. He hit like he was hitting up to around 40% at one point during this season before he got called.
I think it's just a no doubt. I think he's going back to back. I just don't think, and I get it. LeBron fans are probably going to be like, "Well, you're not even considering him." Yes, we are. But when you put Greek stats beside LeBron, Greek's
Yeah,
played a lot better than LeBron. I'm sorry, it's just
he
it's that.
has. He's played, and the assist is also. I mean, anybody can throw the ball to AD and get 10
That's what I'm
assists.
saying.
I mean, I'm not saying all his shots go to AD, but I mean, it's pretty
A good
easy when
chunk.
you got a guy that's basically, I don't know, Embiid's like but he's like a Shaq-like player in this league at the moment, and you can just throw him the ball, he'll go over, he'll shoot. You also got other
And like
guys you
this
could
isn't
pass
really
to.
comparison, but
Yeah,
you have LeBron who passes it to AD, and then you have Greek who passes it to a guy who hasn't picked up a ball in 3 months.
well, Greek's not getting assists; he's getting rebounds. Giannis's big second stat is rebounds, and that's a
Yeah, he's
hustle
averaging
stat.
like 15.4 or something.
I mean,
Crazy.
both assists and rebounds are an IQ thing because you gotta know where the rebounds are coming off, and you gotta know where to drop a dime. But I just think it's a lot harder to get 13 rebounds a game than it is to get 10 assists in this league, especially with the way the game is high paced. I mean,
And
you
for
don't
me,
see people get it, but if you're at that level, and you have AD or somebody big on your team, you should be hitting 10 assists if you're a real playmaker.
and Giannis with his length, right? Like that also helps his rebounding, but that doesn't take away from the fact that you have to know where the bounce is going. But it helps.
Yeah, it
But
helps.
that's
His
not
size helps.
taking away from it at all. But it does help. But I think
Yeah.
the MVP is just flat out Greek. There's no question.
I
And like if
heard some.
I'm not gonna be surprised. Honestly, okay, maybe I would be. I'm gonna be honest.
I heard today them talking on NBA radio. No, it was yesterday that if Giannis wins this year, he has to win the championship.
He does.
And because if he doesn't win the championship, he's going to be a while before he gets any MVPs because you got to win the championship. And it would really prove the fact if he was to do it against LeBron. I don't know if the both will meet. I don't know if Bucks are going to get out of the East because after last year, I thought they were going to get out and they didn't. And I don't know if the Lakers are going to get out because I see multiple people that could give them trouble. I don't know if they'll be able to they have a good chance to overcome it, but I don't know if they will.
And like we visited this like in previous casts, right? Like the favorites. And like I think the Bucks shouldn't have an issue coming out of the East, and the only team that could give them a fit is the Heat.
He took Toronto. I mean, we're talking about Nurse's defense. Nurse could probably cook something up. He did it last year.
Yeah,
But
like
the
I'm not saying it
Raptors
against
don't
my
have
Raptors, but
Raptors
with
don't have that
Kawhi.
extra piece. Yeah, that's what. Yeah, they don't have.
But we can still make it work. Like I think
Well, you
I'm
got
not
OG
sure.
this year. You got OG.
We
OG
have OG,
wasn't there
and
last
apparently
year.
the
Oh,
stats compared to last year with the record is better right now than it was with Kawhi.
Well, that's probably because they passed the ball more. They had to create more of a passive offense than when Kawhi was there because you can give him the ball up top and he'll make plays for you. But when you don't have a guy like that, you've got to figure out how many plays somebody can give you a game compared to what you have. Like, probably where Kawhi had the ball, you now got to split that between Lowry, Van Fleet, and maybe Siakam.
Yeah, that's true.
Because the All Stars are ball dominant players, and they're gonna need the ball. But when you lose that, you've got to figure out more of like the '72 Knicks offense, where you just pass the ball more, or figure out
And
what
it's
works for
working
you.
for them apparently.
Yeah, I think they're like a couple years off of being big contenders again. I think they've got a couple guys like Terrence Davis and who's the other guy? Is
Van Vliet,
Van Fleet. I'm talking about the guys that just came up. They signed this year. There was another guy besides Terrence
Stanley
Davis.
Johnson.
Nah, don't even talk about Stanley. I don't want to talk about Stanley after what he did in Detroit. He ain't gonna progress on offense. You have him for
He might.
defense. Well, we said might for about 3 years in Detroit, but that didn't happen. And
Okay, our system. We made Kawhi a little bit more offensive. Actually, a lot more offensive.
okay, so maybe Stanley will go from 4 points a game to 8, but that's
Hey,
not
it's
gonna
still
get
four
it done
points more, and that could be big.
unless he's playing against LeBron, in which he'll just get shut down. But
He's not DeMar.
I don't know when he back when the Pistons made the 8th seed. I think it was in 2018, 2017 against the against the Cavs. Stanley Johnson guarded LeBron one game. We lost. He started talking trash, and then LeBron shut him down the whole rest of the series. So he knows
and
what it feels like.
now in the West, though, so think about that.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't. If you're hoping Stanley Johnson is your future, you're gonna be hoping for a while because that's what Detroit did for two
He's not
years.
going to be our future. I just think our system can get stuff going with him a lot better than the Pistons. I'm gonna be honest.
Well, yeah,
But no,
I don't. But he can be off your bench. You're gonna have to figure out some guy. You guys also got to think of Lowry's replacement in a couple of years. Well, you got Fred VanVleet, but you need an off guard. You need an off guard there. Maybe you guys work well with the G League, so there could be
yeah,
something.
we
You also, I mean, as you did trade Valanciunas for Gasol, but I think that's going to come back to bite you eventually down the road, possibly, because you're going to have an older Gasol and not have a replacement right away for him.
But when we think about like biting us in the butt down the road, and I get it, it's one championship, but our moves got us there, and we're a champion.
Yeah, I think you could have done it with Valanciunas. I think you
No,
really could have. You don't think so?
no, Gasol has way more experience. He's a defensive player of the year. Was
Okay.
defensive player of the year.
All right. Well, yeah, but I don't. Yeah, Toronto or the Heat are the ones I think could stop Giannis in the East. Other than that, I think he's gonna
Yeah,
make it. And then he's got a big hump for him to beat whoever comes out of West because they're gonna be having to go through a lot of hurdles this year.
it's either the Clippers or the Lakers. He's gonna have to go through. I think.
I still got my hopes out for Portland, dark horse, but I know what you're saying.
Yeah, but I'm
But
like the
but
one.
realistically, if you're looking at it now, I know what you're saying. Lakers, Clippers, yeah.
But we know that the Trailblazers. You never
It's
know.
anybody's game with the bubble. It really is. Well, to an
Yeah.
extent. To an extent. I mean, there's about I think it goes from where it was 3 teams to maybe 6 now when you open it with the bubble.
See, the thing is, I was watching the highlights of the Magic against the Clippers, and it was close until the fourth, and then the Magic ended up losing by like what 15, 20,
Yeah, yeah. The clip PG was hot today.
and Kawhi was hitting his shots
Well, they
open.
didn't
So
even have Harold though. That's the thing. There was no
yeah,
Harold. He's out right now because he had to leave the bubble for
and they
someone.
still won by like
That's the
15
Magic.
points.
It's the Magic's like the second worst team that's going to be in the tournament, I think.
I know.
So you can't really judge
For
that.
the
I need to see
playoffs,
them against. Now, if they put down the Lakers for the first seeding game, then we can talk a little bit more. But
no, that's not. That's no. I'm sorry, that's not happening.
you don't think it's happening?
What, the Orlando
No,
versus
I'm talking about Clips. I'm saying if the Clips put down the Lakers
Oh,
first game, then we
yeah.
could talk. But right now, it's just like, oh, they beat the Magic. It's like, yeah.
Haven't the Clippers beat the Lakers every time they've played this season?
Nah, that last week, that's what's really pushing LeBron for MVP, is that last week the Lakers beat the Clippers and the Bucks in
Oh
the
yeah,
last.
cool. LeBron for 1 week and Giannis for a whole year.
Yeah, I
I
want to
like
see it. Yeah, that's why I have Giannis as MVP. That's why I got Giannis.
Same. No argument here.
There's not much of an argument. Some people think there is, but there's not. All right, well, that's gonna be it for this week. I'd like to thank everybody who's made it this far. If you're on YouTube, feel free to like and subscribe. And if you're listening on one of the podcast services, thanks for watching. This has been another episode.